Hi, this is Marc Bona. I write about beer for Northeast Ohio Media Group. We are on day 2 of our Neo's Best Craft Brewery Tour. We're at Platform Beer Company, one of the newest brewers in town, less than a year old. We're with Paul Benner, one of 4 owners of Platform. Paul, talk to us a little bit about this space. This is a very old building.
Yeah, it's got a ton of history, Mark. So the building was originally built before 1900. And the first tenant was a Hungarian social club. So there was a bar up front, one of the many ethnic social clubs in the city of Cleveland. And in the back here was the city's first 10-pin bowling alley. So before, I guess, our space, 7-pin bowling was the norm. So it was a manual bowling alley where pin setters, younger kids would be setting up pins between each frame, and was really ingrained in the fabric of this neighborhood was the Hungarian culture.
That's great.
Yeah.
Now, Platform, like a lot of new breweries, obviously we can sit here and talk about the beer. You have some great styles on tap. You've got a great brewer in Sean Yasaki. But what really sets Platform apart is an incubator business model.
Yeah, it's something that I believe strongly in. When we began brainstorming on what our brewery was going to represent and really stand for, I really wanted it to be a very homebrew-inspired place. I also own a homebrew shop here in town, the Cleveland Brew Shop, and was inspired by all of the individuals who are making incredible products at home and really mastering their hobby, however, never getting a chance to showcase their product to the general public. So what our program does is we bring in home brewers for a 12-week program, free program, where they work hands-on with our brewer to learn how to work in a production brewery. But we also teach them about business planning, financials. We start the regulatory paperwork to getting a brewery launched. And the idea is to help these guys launch and to start their own brewery. During the process, they get to brew 2 of their house-made recipes with the help of our brewer on our system that's for sale at our tasting room, which is really incredible for a home brewer to get their product tasted by the general public.
So you're on your second. Kyle Roth was your first, I believe, out of Sandusky, and now Tom Jenkins is the second. How's he working out?
Tom and Eric have been phenomenal. They're about to make their second batch here in a couple weeks. Their first was their Saison recipe. This one coming up, we're actually really excited about. This is like at the core of what we want to do. It's a strawberry rhubarb wheat beer, which is something like in a commercial level you probably wouldn't take a chance on, but right. It's a homebrew recipe that he's been making for a long time and has got some really fun feedback on it. So it's something we're real excited about, and he'll be making that in a couple weeks.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Now, from where we're standing, we're right around Lorraine Avenue and West 41st Street. We're really not far from Great Lakes Brewing Company. We're not far around the corner from Market Garden and Nano. You go another 1.5 miles right downtown to basically the warehouse district. You get Portside, you've got Butcher and the Brewer in East 4th. It goes on and on and on. You've talked a little bit in the past about your opinions on whether this market is saturated or whether there's room for growth.
Yeah, and this is something I do feel strongly about. I think a perfect example is like what you're doing right now, Mark. So we had the initial voting for best breweries in Northeast Ohio, and number 4 was Platform, number 5 was Portside. Both breweries have been open, a year or less, are now being recognized as best breweries in the city. So that's a good example of, obviously, if you're opening up and you're doing the right things, there's a fan base and there's a market there. Also, I think what we'll see over the next 5 to 10 years is a pullback from the number of regional breweries that are selling beer at a high level here at our local markets, and we'll start doing what we did in the early 1900s, which was buy local beer at a very high level. So we'll see breweries like Platform, like Great Lakes, like Fattest continue to grow their local market, stealing from large breweries from the West Coast, from the East Coast, from the South, and you'll see a larger pot of local, beer that's available and purchased by local individuals.
So obviously, you can see a line of taps behind us, great beer on draft, but you've been able to expand and do a lot of different things. You obviously participate in Fest, you've held a couple Fests. You also have started canning on a regular basis with Buckeye Canning out of Amherst, and you have some volunteers who help out with that?
Yeah, our can crew. Every other Saturday we can 30 barrels of beer, which is about 400 cases, which for us is a good amount. On the grand scale, it's not a ton of beer. It's just kind of it's what we're getting into right away. So we have a group that comes for 2 sessions for between 8 and noon, and then noon to 4, and They put rubber gloves on, they get waterproof shoes on, and they're canning for 4 hours with us. And people love it. I mean, we go nuts. We always end every canning run with a shotgun at the end, right? So, it's a really, really fun time, and we've never had any problem finding volunteers because it's enjoyable.
No surprise there.
Yeah.
That's great. So this was day 2 of our Northeast Ohio Media Group's Neo's Best Craft Brewery Tour. We're visiting each of the 10 finalist breweries. Platform Beer Company is one of them. I'm Marc Bona. Cheers.